All right, so we are going to return to where we left off, and we have the previous tutorial still open. So what we're going to do different from the previous tutorial is to explain a few concepts of further, a little further than we did. So this will go and we'll do this. Okay, we don't need this tag, we just need dot type gracious. That's strong. We are depending on something called auto completion right now. We will focus on typing everything manually. So in this basics, we're going to learn essentials that require other to excel with marking HTML. I know something about most tags come in pairs, like the beginning, like this is called the opening, that is called the closing. So let me quickly highlight. So this is the beginning, this is the closing. Now there's something we can do in HTML we call comments. So this is a comment tag, and what it means is that it does not affect, when you have a tag that is like this for commenting, it means it does not affect the functionality, the structure, and the visuals that appears in the browser. But then it is for you, the developer, the coder, to document your process. And if there be anything you think for continuity's sake you'd come back to and you need a reminder to explain it for you, you will put it here. So this, I'm gonna just put it here as this is an opening tag. Let's be more specific. This is an opening HTML tag, and we will leave more space, make it more legible. For legibility's sake, we will leave more space. And this is there's a closing HTML tag. All right, so you notice by now that tags are all valid, but nothing is still showing. That's the most scary part, when you're typing and nothing is showing. So in a while ago, a friend was asking me, what is coding the same as programming? And I answered, but I guess that was not like clear with her, because she's not still thinking that when you say coding and you're saying programming, it's the same thing. But in technical terms, I don't think it's the same thing, or it isn't the same thing. I'm 100% sure it's not the same thing, because here is it that I'm typing this. There's a comment. It's a valid code. I'm coding all right, but nothing is happening. Nothing is showing. So it's not always programming. When you talk about programming, it's a set of rules, or a set of codes that actually performs a certain function, and helps you to perform a task or a function. Well, this is helping you to perform a certain function or task, but it's not visible. So on a certain level, it's just code. It's just code that cannot be like used by the end user who is like visiting your website to see it, but there's still code. All right, so coding is not always programming. It's programming interchangeably somewhere, but then it's not always programming. All right, so that cleared. We will go to the next thing you needed to understand. Now, we earlier did this, which is the head tag. Of course, we need the head. So you understand, if you followed my previous video, you know what this is the head tag and what it represents. Things in the head does not show structurally visible in the body, except the rules and special coding that does not appear. The code itself in the head does not appear here, but then it has effect in terms of aesthetics and then behavior of what happens inside the body type, which will come to that soon. But in paradigms, in HTML paradigms, when you have a head and you say you have a meta tag here, which is valid tag, for some reason it's not the tag that comes in a pair, it's a singular tag, and that's how you define a meta tag. So when in HTML paradigm, when you have a tag wrapping around another tag completely with its content, you call it an element. So here we have head HTML element. So we have an element, we have the head element. So the element of an HTML tag is the tag along with everything that it encloses or that is in it. So this head tag along with everything that there is in it is what we call element. So we have an HTML element. Now we can do more by going to explain the tag. I believe I might have touched on it a bit. We want to also understand this paradigm or understand this bit of code within an HTML tag, that if we have a keyword and an attribute. Now we're going to explain this meta tag in terms of a keyword and attribute and its what value. So here we have a meta tag, and this meta tag has this tag has a charset attribute with a value of UTF-8. Oh, come on. All right. So let's leave spaces for legibility's sake, as I always mention. So we have this tag. This tag has a charset attribute with a value of UTF-8. So we know that a tag must have a keyword, and because it's a meta tag, it is the kind of tag that takes the attribute charset and UTF-8. There are various kinds of meta tags that can take different attribute and different values. Typically, a meta tag should have two attributes. So a meta tag could have or usually should have a name and content, which can be used in various useful functions to include several features and properties into your HTML. So it has, this is a typical meta tag, and this is a special meta tag. So you know that there are tags that are of the same kind but could have some special ones and some usual ones. So with meta tags, you have a usual one. So we're going to take this opportunity to specify some values for this meta tag. And we're going to specify the viewport value for this specific meta tag. And we're going to specify what kind of property we want to target in the viewport. Yes, we target device width. All right. So what are we doing here with this tag? We're targeting the viewport, and we want to handle the device width. Then you guessed right. We are talking about responsiveness of our content in our web browser. And how responsive do we want it to be? We want to ensure that it's skin tight. It's skin tight. That means it scales according to the device width. It scales according to the viewport device width, the width of the device. That means if you use a mobile screen, your content should all shrink to the size of the screen to fit it. And in order to do that, you need to specify 1.0. That is almost one-on-one. That means skin tight, like wrapping and then doing vacuum suction, so that there is no air to breathe around your content, but then we will ensure that there is air to breathe, definitely. So this is the specification for responsiveness. This, by the way, but you've learned it now once and for all. All right, so we've got some HTML codes in there, and that's awesome. Now, until now, like I explained before, everything that goes on into the head tag is not actually visible. Again, it's not structurally visible, but it has the ability to affect what happens in the browser. Like, should I go ahead to include a body, because we need a body tag at this point. So let me use the auto correct or auto generate functionality of this text editor. It generates the tags for you. It kind of predicts what type of tag you're trying to include and complete it for you. So once we have this body, we want to introduce another tag, and this tag is a div. If you want to know what this tag does, it's very useful for creating layout or divisions. So in your body, in the body of your HTML, you want to create divisions, and this comes by default with properties that makes things visible, but then none of them is active. If you want to have it active, you need to define an attribute called ID and call this block, and now with active block like this attribute ID, instead of going to select the keyword div, we can go ahead to select the attribute ID with CSS, like I earlier showed in the previous video. If you watched it, you definitely understand. So we are still in a head, and now we'll go back to our style because we need that tag. We need that tag to make things look really awesome. So we use to define a division within the body called a block, and now we go ahead to select the attribute ID, and this is how you select the ID. You put the pound sign, and we come to the name of the ID, not the ID. The ID has been identified here as the pound. Now we come to take the name of the ID and add it onto the pound, and we have our qualified selector. Together is a selector. We can also have the keyword of the tag like this. The keyword of the tag as a qualified selector, like div. Yeah, that qualified selector. But for the sake of this video, we will use this represents an ID block. That is our selector, and we will add our rule, and we want this block to not be empty. We want to define it in terms of width, and the width we want it to be all the way wide, that is 100%, and the height we want it to be about 100 pixels. Now this is still not taking effect. It will only take effect when we add background, something visual, something for us to see for the eyes only, maroon. Now we see our div like we specified showing. Now if we're not happy with the height of the div, we can change it. Maybe we make it 50. That's it.